Oi, my drillers, it's your geezer Big Donny Cow here for a brand new video. Hope to help you new folk out journeying into either playing a Warlock for your first time or just leveling up your first character. So I'm going to teach you stuff in relation to playing a Demonology Warlock, but there's some translatable skills you can get from this video to level any character. The only stuff, like, I'm going to start with stuff you can use for everything, and then I'm going to finish off with some more Demonology specific stuff. So, yeah, if you're looking for bits to skip to, then that's roughly how it's going to go. I'm way too lazy for timestamps, so bosh, let's just get right into it. So, your first question is probably going to be, well, after I've done my starting zone, which is reasonable whatever you go for, you know, you can go for Exile's Reach, you could go for the Racial Starting Zone, do one for fun, but if you want speed, Exile's Reach is a bit better, but you might get a bit burnt out. If you're a new player, for the first time, you will be brought into the content of, I believe, Dragonflight now. So you'll be doing the Dragonflight quests, some of their dungeons. You won't be doing any of their raids. You did raids at max level, so don't worry about that. I know as you level, some of you first timers might see this raid finder thing. It's an end game piece of content. Don't worry about it while you're leveling. It's something which caught my eye when I first started playing. But you can definitely do dungeons. How? So you press I, or this little button down the bottom right with an I. You go to dungeon finder, and like, as a new player, you probably want to do like a regular random dungeon. So don't go for the one that says heroic, but just do random dungeon. Click find group, select your roles as well. You could also do a follower dungeon, which will basically let you queue in. So if I just select the rookery here, I'm going to queue in with NPCs so I can learn how everything works. Now, dungeon spamming is a very good way to level, like almost regardless of expansion. We do it all the time. Follow dungeons won't get you that much XP, but it will let you learn what the dungeon's like. So I'm just going to tell the NPCs to take the lead here so you can sort of see how it goes. This is our format. We've got one tank. They pull. Don't pull for your tank. They get annoyed. We've got a healer. They'll try and keep us alive. But ultimately, if you do take too much damage, there's not much the healer can do. You need to be careful of that. But you will learn. You will learn. Trust me. And, you know, if you do make some mistakes, like you notice you take some big damage, by all means, probably go ask. Ask people with more experience. Some of them will be toxic, yes, but some people might actually help you out. And they can tell you, oh, yeah, no, you stood in this swirly on the ground. That one's bad. But there's another one which is good, which you are meant to go in. So, there's differences in stuff which it will become obvious eventually. But when you're learning, it's going to be a trick. I ain't going to beat around the bush. Right. You'll figure it out. And then you also have 3 damage dealers. These damage dealers, well, yeah, they are damage dealers. Simply put. But you're also probably wondering, oh hey, where do I want to go level on another character? I'm not getting Dragonflight anymore. So like, I'm not automatically put there. Where do I want to go? I've got this whole chromie time thing. I would advise going for Warlords of Draenor. Simply put, it's the fastest questing experience you can go for, especially if you do the bonus objectives, and one of the coolest in the game. Without having to like put too much effort in. Like you can. It's a very linear progression you can go through. Don't have to go back and forth between zones. You can complete a zone, move on to next, complete a zone, move on to next. Much easier. I do believe there's a faster method where I think you start leveling in Silver Pine, then go Hillsbrad, And then I think you maybe do a bit of a Raffi until you get to level 30. Then you start Warlords of Draenor, and then you finish off with Warlords of Draenor. But as a beginner, trust me, go through Warlords of Draenor. Go enjoy some cinematics there, because it's cool as, yeah, you love it. But then, equally, dungeon spamming is a very good route for leveling. And you can opt to dungeon spam. And if you do that, I would start at either Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King. You can also do Cataclysm and Mr. Pandaria. But I would recommend like, if you get bored of the dungeons you're doing, then I'd recommend swapping to them a bit later in your leveling journey. Why? Because these expansions give you extra quests to do in the dungeons you queue into. So you could go and get some quests done for a bit of extra XP. And I recommend doing Cataclysm and Mr. Pandaria later because, well, you got less dungeons you can go through, so you quickly burn through the quests at low level, and then you'll be doing repeats a lot. And that does slow you down a little bit, but not enough to really make things bad. So, you know, if you do decide, hey, I want to just spam this one expansion, by all means, you can go for it. So far, you've just seen the basic bit of a dungeon. I'm leaving this dungeon early, but as you can see on the right here, there's a progress to show how many bosses are left. You normally leave when all the bosses are dead. I'm just leaving because I wanted to show you that dungeons usually now have lower NPC mobs, trash mobs we call them. They'll have some mechanics to look out for, and you can get some nice AoE damage on them, and they will lead up to a boss, which have some more visible mechanics and more mechanics you have to play around, but you can you can genuinely get them quite easily as they're pretty well telegraphed. But like I say, you may struggle being a new player, and yeah, like, when you play the game more, you get the experience and you understand things. And by all means, like, if you have a question about any boss, even if, say, you're like, oh, I don't know, I decided to go Wrath of the Lich King, Halls of Stone, oh, Tribunal of Ages, I didn't understand, I didn't understand how this boss fight worked. He walked over to a console and a load of ads came around, but where was the boss? Well, no. This is an extremely unique boss fight. But yeah, like, ask any questions you want in the comment section, or even our Discord server, link down below. Got you covered. Also on the Twitch, if you want to ask while I'm live streaming, also, I can help you out. But yeah, those are sort of your main two leveling methods until you get to the current expansion. Now, if it's your first playthrough of the current expansion, you are once again going to be doing the story. So you'll be doing a load of questing, and then, like, once you finish the campaign, you probably do some dungeons to get yourself to max level. If it's your second, third, fourth, fifth playthrough, then you can opt to just spam dungeons the whole way. You don't have to do the story again. You only have to do it once on your account. So, yeah, no dramas with that. That's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And for all you players out there, that's going to be your sort of leveling routes that you can opt to take for a quick experience. I would recommend, it's my final thing for leveling for new players, I would recommend that you just take some time when leveling your characters, do a different expansion on each, quest through everything, go see everything the game has to offer, as often we get bottlenecked into the current expansion, and you don't really get to see all the other amazing expansions in the game. And they're super fun, with super good lore, which I think you guys will really, really like. And yeah, that's it really. I think you'll have an enjoyable experience if you decide to go for it. Now, this bit is going to be more demonology focused. So if you don't care about demonology leveling, then yeah, this is probably the end of the video for you. Like, comment, sub. Thank you for watching. my fellow Demolocks, let's create a new build where I'm going to show you how to level. So, let's just call this leveling. I'm going to remove everything. Yeah, get rid of the hero talents. This is endgame only. Okay, I can't actually get rid of it. I have to... Yeah, sorry, bear with me. I have to bin off a lot of this. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is show you my step-by-step process of what talents I take while leveling. And in case you're wondering why you should trust me, well, maybe you shouldn't, but I have kind of leveled 20 Demonology Warlocks over the years. So I think I might know my way around getting to max level pretty solidly. So, you're going to see here there's some PvP talents. I'm going to ignore these as I don't recommend the war mode player going into it. But if you do, I will talk about this at the very end of the talent build. So your first level up. So when you're level 10, you'll have this automatically. Basically a little defensive. 11, you get Demon Bolt and the ability to occasionally instant cast it. You only press this ability as an instant cast. Just a note, for Demonology and Destruction Warlocks, you may have been taught to use the Corruption spell. Do not remove, just leave this spell in your spellbook. This spell is useless for you. Okay? Don't press it. Anyway, back to Demonology specifics. This button, you get Demon Bolt, as you can see in my E key, and you're only going to press it when it lights up and it's instant. As you can see here, boom. Now it's an instant cast. You do not hard cast it. Next in leveling, I'm going to suggest it's probably going to be worth, if you're questing, to go for Fell Domination in case your pet dies. But if you're doing dungeons, to go for Burning Rush so you could be a bit faster. Remember to turn this off as it does deal some damage to you. And if you leave it on for too long, then it does become an issue. But if you use it moderately, then it should be okay. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick Fell Domination here. But the following level, I would take Burning Rush. And vice versa. So this would be, level 15 I'd be at this point. What you pick at level 13 depends on how you are leveling. Next, if you're questing, I would go Dreadstalkers first. And if you're dungeoning, I would go Implosion first. But at level 16, you should be looking like this. Now, next level, if you're not too confident with Burning Rush, I'd go straight into Fiendish Stride, so you take less damage. You also get a bit of speed. If you do feel comfortable with Demonology in general, or you're not using Burning Rush that much, or you just want more survivability in general, take these two talents. Either or is pretty good, and it will keep you quite tanky. As for back on the spec tree, I highly recommend these talents, as they make your Dreadstalker stronger. This talent as well, bigger implosions, bigger damage. Basically, if you find yourself doing more with the Dreadstalkers, then go into this first, and if you find yourself doing more with Implosion, go into this first. And we're going to go back into the class tree. I would recommend picking up Mortal Coil. Why? Because not only does it horrify your enemies, but it also heals you. You can use this as a defensive. It's pretty good. After that, take some curses. One can slow, one can make things cast longer. You might struggle to use this as a new player. Don't worry about that too much. What you care more about is this extra stamina as a new player. Demonic Circle as well, and is a good talent. Start getting used to this when you can, but don't spam it everywhere, just see when you're kiting mobs in the open world, put it down, maybe use your Curse of Exhaustion, let the mob kind of come towards you, and then as the mob gets close, boom, use the Demonic Circle's teleport button, it's a separate button, to get away from it. And you can also choose to pick these pet nodes as well. as it just means more damage. This one, when you're a solo player, this doesn't do anything for you aside from unlock better talents. Demonic Gateway, great mobility cooldown. When you get this ability, Soul Burn, you can sacrifice a soul shard to instantly cast this and move very quickly. While you're leveling, yeah, I'd probably go for Strength of Will, but you can take Dark Accord, depending if you feel like you want your Unending Resolve more, or you want your Unending Resolve to do more. You basically just press this button when you see incoming damage, which might be a bit difficult as a new player, as you don't know where the damage is coming from. But if you see something where you're thinking, that could hurt, press the Unending Resolve. Dark Pact as well, you press that beforehand, and boom. As a new player, you might want to go for Eye Court of Devils, so that you don't sacrifice much health, but you still get the same shield. Or, I'd recommend going Frequent Donor, just because you get more Dark Pacts. These buttons, more damage. Also, you're probably wondering, I'm not going back to this, I'm just going to finish a class tree, just to make it easier. I think it's a bit silly of me going back and forth. So basically, we're now just going to go, this is more damage, this is more defensive, this is more defensive, that can lead to damage, that can be defensive. We have an extra node line about, we go for this one so that our health stones are stronger, and yeah, if you can, rush to getting to these bottom three, then I would do that, so maybe something like this, and then in your latter levels, then you can go and pick those 3 points. Firstly, Soul Burn is going to take a bit of getting used to, so I'd maybe recommend taking Pact of Gluttony before Soul Burn. I'd definitely recommend getting Soul Conduit pretty quickly though, as that does make it a bit easier to play. Right. As for our talent loadout here, Soul Strike you want, you're going to get a free Soul Shard. Inner Demons, you get a free Demon. Add-on can be ignored. I would recommend, if you want more frequent AoE, go for Bile Scourge. If you want a big AoE, go for Demonic Strength. I am personally a massive fan of Bile Scourge, so I run that. Let's see. We need to get straight to our big cooldown, Demonic Tyrant. He's single target, but when you have a load of demons up, he does big damage, especially with this Reign of Tyranny talent. So he's great. This is another quite nice passive. This increases damage done to targets which have been hit by your Dreadstalkers. I'd recommend going for this for a bit more single target pressure as well. Sacrifice Souls, you could run that. Power Siphon, really solid option. That's what I pressed earlier to show the instant cast of Demon Bolt. You can sacrifice either 1 or 2 imps, and you'll get 1 or 2 charges of Demoniac, which gives you the Demonic Core. No, it's just called Demonic Core. I'm being silly. Demonic Calling, occasionally you get an instant cast of your Dreadstalkers, which is pretty cool. This Expendables, pretty good. Shadow Invocation can be quite good as well. I'd recommend it. So Vile Fiend, definitely run this. You can basically summon him off cooldown, but it's really good to get him inside, summon him before summoning your Tyrant. That way he gets extended and does big damage. Dread Calling makes your Dreadstalkers deal more. This is more Dreadstalker damage. And this is just more damage, I think. Yeah, so your Vile Fiend applies this debuff as well, making things easy. Bit more shadow damage there. Bit more Dreadstalker damage here. Now this one, I'd go for Mark of Fahag, solely because it's just stronger at the moment. Now if you want some more passive options, maybe you could go something like Untorn Armaments. You could go maybe Improved Demonic Tactics, and let's say Immutable Hatred. This talent was designed for new players. If you're feeling a bit more confident and want more fun options, well, more so if you're feeling a bit more confident playing, you could definitely try and use Doom, get some dots out, leads to another demon summon as well if you go for all those. It's definitely that you can get big hand or Gul'dan damage out of running these two as well. Might make things a little easier while leveling. Or you could run like the Grimrar Fell Guards, maybe some Fell Sunder, maybe just more deep into that. But yeah, when I'm leveling, I'd traditionally pick something like this. Maybe run that and throw that on top. That would probably be my ideal leveling setup. But, you know, you can opt to change it as I've mentioned in the video. As for your hero talent, honestly, like, this is like a bit personal preference-y, as most things are locked in. But just read these and see what you like the sound of more. And you do have 2 hero talents. I prefer to run Diabolist. I think it's so much cooler. Final thing I'm going to talk about is PvP talents. You only get this when in war mode. Honestly, Master Summoner must have. Get this ASAP. Then, like, Cool Fell Lord and Cool Observer, they just do some nice damage and they're pretty solid. If people do start attacking you, then running something like Nether Ward could help against the caster. You could try Soul Rip so that they deal less damage to you, and Bonds of Fell so it makes it harder for them to catch you. Same with Shadow Rift, you can also push them out that way. But Cool Fell Lord is usually going to do the trick against any melee players who try and come at you. You know, PvP as a new player is going to be very, very difficult. But you know, if you can handle it, then credits to you. But yeah, anyway, that is probably all the information I could share about talents. The only thing I'm going to go over now is gear. Basically, get anything which increases your intellect. And if something doesn't increase your intellect, but increase secondary stats, then something that's like high haste is really good. Something that gives mastery tends to be really good. And then when you get to end game, what you can do is start looking at an end game guide. I have one for the season, so if you want to check it out, please go and do so. It will be probably linked as a card up that way. Yes, in that corner by my minimap. But yeah, that's going to be the end of today's video. Any questions, like I say, please send them in either Discord, in the comment section, wherever you want. Also in the stream. Always happy to help. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please feel free to like, drop a sub if you feel inclined. And yeah, I do hope you have a good journey in Azeroth. And feel free to share any achievements you get along the way, or anything you're proud of. Even if it's simple as, hey, I summoned the first demon. Because that's cool. And you're cool. And you can do it. Alright. Sweet.